A severe weather outbreak is possible today for October 24th, 2021. Spotty hail as well as damaging winds and upwards of hurricane force can be anticipated, as well as the chance for tornadoes, some of which could be strong. In the warned areas, people need to watch out, as well as in the future, as there could potentially be more and more severe weather shots that could occur in the United States. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Nate. I also go by Hockey Boy Nate. In this video, we're going to be discussing as to where those severe weather events could potentially occur, as well as how significant they actually could be. If you're new to my channel, please be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay up to date with the weather information that may be going about in the United States. We have a lot of things to talk about here today, but for the most part, we're going to be mainly talking about the severe weather event that's going to be occurring here today. As well as leave a like on the video, that would be greatly appreciated to help share this video on YouTube. That's how YouTube's algorithm works. So if you guys would help me get more and more information out onto YouTube, hit that like button down below and share this with friends and family and on social media. Taking a look at the satellite imagery here, we've got a couple things that we're going to want to talk about. But the main thing here that is really something to watch out for is this new developing low pressure system here right over Kansas. You can see this massive shot of these clouds moving from west to east, as well as this general counterclockwise spin here in the atmosphere, indicating a new low pressure system that's beginning to form and moving across Kansas, heading towards the Missouri areas. And that's expected to be where the severe weather is going to be at, somewhere in Illinois, Missouri, heading into Arkansas, with leftovers of eastern Kansas and Oklahoma in the activity. We also have this new low pressure system that's starting to come into view, this giant bomb cyclone, which basically means that this low pressure system is getting more and more significant. And at this point, it actually has a lower pressure than most hurricanes we've had this year in the Atlantic. So we have a pretty strong storm that's creating a lot of significant flow here onto the portions of the Northwest. You can expect damaging winds and the potential for tornadoes over here, but they would be more likely a short-lived threat if there was any sort of thunderstorms that was over there. The thunderstorms would probably gain a little bit of traction and then probably die out really quickly once it gets over land. So just something to make a note of if you live in Northern California, as well as coastal Oregon and Washington. Let's shift gears over towards the convective outlook here from the Storm Prediction Center. If you see this light green, that just means a general thunderstorm risk. The main thing you're going to want to look out for is these assorted colors of dark green, yellow, and orange. A dark green is a 1 out of 5 on the severe weather scale, a yellow is a 2 out of 5 on the severe weather scale, and a orange is a 3 out of 5. So if you live in those areas, you can expect severe weather to be possible within your general vicinity. Of course, the main risk here today is going to be the tornadoes, as well as the significant damaging winds and upwards of hurricane force. But we'll talk about the tornado risk here real quickly. 2% indicated in green, 5% in brown, 10% in yellow. So whatever probability you have, that is your chance of seeing a tornado within a 25-mile radius. You also have this black circle with dotted lines here into places like St. Louis, down towards Springfield, Missouri, and even towards Fayetteville, Arkansas. That is a significant severe risk, which basically means that you have a 10% chance or greater probability of seeing an EF2 tornado or stronger within a 25-mile radius. So definitely something that you need to consider, especially if you live in these areas here at the bottom part of your screen. I also want to direct our attention over to the left part of our screen, where there is also a 2% chance for tornadoes in places like Oregon and Washington, but only the coastal areas, as storms that will actually go over land will most likely start to disintegrate. So just something to keep a note of, that if you live along the coastal areas over there, you guys could potentially see some tornadic activity. And then let's take a look over at the wind risk here. 5% in brown, 15 in yellow, and 30 in red. Whatever probability you have, that is your chance of seeing 58-mile-per-hour wind gusts or larger within a 25-mile radius. You have that same significant severe risk here with the black circle and the dotted lines. In this instance, it means a 10% chance or greater probability of seeing hurricane force winds within a 25-mile radius. So definitely something to make a note of if you live in places like Springfield, like St. Louis. Just that general area need to really watch out for the potential of some strong severe weather here tonight. Moving on to the day 2 convective outlook here. 1 out of 5 in dark green, 2 out of 5 in yellow. So wherever you guys live within those areas, consider the following with your severe risk. The major threat here is going to be damaging winds with the 15% indicated in that yellow. Otherwise, hail's not really going to be that big of an issue, and there is a small chance for a tornado. So even though it's a low chance, it is not a no chance. So big thing here, there is the threat for tornadoes, and if you are under a tornado warning, you need to take your proper precautions and have a plan of action. Looking at the day 3 convective outlook for Tuesday, we have a pretty large risk here for it being so far out. 1 out of 5 in green, 2 out of 5 in yellow. We cannot look at the actual parameters quite yet. The Storm Prediction Center doesn't actually give you its probabilities for each parameter until the day 2 convective outlook, which is the reason why you could see it for Monday's actual severe weather day and not for Tuesday's. But you can expect damaging winds and the potential of tornadoes to be possible here, as well as the threat for hail along the western edges of the actual risk. But you can expect some strong storms to basically be prevalent here for the most part in these areas. I'm expecting Oklahoma to be the main ground zero again, and that's most likely going to continue throughout most of the severe weather events that will happen in the future. And last but not least, we also have our day 4 severe weather outlook. We have a 15% chance of severe weather over into portions of eastern Louisiana, southern portions of Mississippi and Alabama, as well as western portions of Georgia and Florida. So I highly recommend monitoring the weather if you guys are living down there, because you guys haven't really had a whole lot of severe weather since times like April. So definitely something to watch out for as this continues to progress further and further. And I'll have more information on Tuesday and Wednesday in tomorrow's video on Monday. All right, so now let's take a look at the simulated radar here. If you want to know what made up this severe weather event in general, I highly recommend checking out yesterday. It goes into detail as to how things come together and create potential severe weather outbreaks and stuff like that. So if you want to go check that out, I highly recommend checking out the video that I made yesterday. I'll put the link to that in the description down below. If you take a look here across the board, this is at 2 a.m. Central Daylight Time, and we got a couple of showers and thunderstorms here that are starting to pop across. So you can see the time up here at the top left-hand portion of your screen if you want to follow along. And as this continues to move about, you can see we have some scattered showers and thunderstorms that move on through Quincy and Springfield. This will be a bit of the warm front moving on through, creating a lot of warm moisture to the south of it. So anywhere in this area, you have a lot of warm, moist air and even some energy for these showers and thunderstorms to actually use. As this continues to move about, you'll see that the area starts to clear, and that's mainly one of those signs to where you can start to see things start to ramp up from there. And once storms start to form, it'll start to be really explosive across the board. And you can see here, once we get to the afternoon hours of the day, you can see we already have a couple showers and thunderstorms that could start to form into places like Clinton and Columbia, north of Joplin. So this is really going to be one of those things to where it's going to start to form as a relatively weaker line. You can see how this line over here, just to the east of St. Joseph in Kansas City, starts to kind of materialize, but it's not anything too big. And then you also have another line that starts to form even out in front of that with some other storms over in Quincy. So it's just going to be one of those things that it's going to be kind of shaky at first, but then once things happen, it's going to start to form into a giant line for the most part. And you can see this giant swirl here with multiple waves of showers and thunderstorms that'll continue to push on through. And this is basically going to be one of those things to where once this does form, it's going to continue to rumble on through, and it's not really going to be broken up in any sense of the word. So Springfield, your second wave is going to be impacting you at around 6 p.m. Same thing with Columbia. It could be hit or miss, though, with the showers and thunderstorms that you guys could get. And then as this head towards Rolla and St. Louis is going to get the first wave around 7 to 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Rolla, your second wave at around 7 p.m. And then St. Louis is going to continue to get that activity all the way through until a little bit past 9 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So if you guys live within those areas, highly recommend watching out for that severe weather to roll on through. And the timings of that event is shown on the screen here. If I did not call out your city, I hope that you know where you live in Missouri so that you can basically account for where the time was on the screen as well as where the severe thunderstorms were in your general area. One thing I will say is that once it starts to head further and further overnight, it'll start to transition to a wind risk. So if it's still daytime outside, It's still the peak time for tornadoes to form, but then once things start to shift overnight, the further and further you go into the night, the more and more of a damaging wind risk it will be. So sometime more or less around 9 to 10 p.m. Central Daylight Time, that's when things can start to become a more of a damaging wind risk rather than a tornado risk. If we shift our attention over to Arkansas, you can see that nothing really happens until about 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time. If you look at the top left-hand portion of your screen, a couple showers and thunderstorms could start to rear its ugly head near Rogers, and then once things start to move on through into the 5 o'clock hours and even 6 o'clock, you can see those showers and thunderstorms start to materialize more and more, impacting areas potentially near Fayetteville, Rogers, and even Fort Smith. You can also see the second line of showers and thunderstorms that'll move into the northern portions of the state near Mountain Home, north of Russellville and Conway. This will continue to move about as 2 consecutive lines that'll push on through. The first one will begin to disintegrate towards the 8 or even 9 o'clock hours, and the second one will start to take full shape as more of a broken line QLCS or quasi-linear convective system that'll continue to move on through into portions of Mena, Russellville, as well as Mountain Home again at around 9 p.m. Central Daylight Time. You can also see that as this continues to progress towards the midnight hours, areas near Conway, Little Rock, and Hot Springs also start to get into the action here, with Jonesboro being there as well at around midnight. And then as this continues to progress to the south and east, areas near Pine Bluff as well as Dyersville and Memphis, they can get the activity around 1 to even 2 a.m. in the morning. And this will be mainly consecutive all throughout the morning hours as it continues to push on through. The line will still be there. Sure, you'll have some areas to where there could be some breaks in the line where there's no showers and thunderstorms, but there's going to be some other areas like El Dorado or even places near West Helena. They could potentially get some activity as well. So it's going to be one of those things to where it'll be hit or miss at this point, but you're still going to get some showers and thunderstorms possible within your area. So definitely something to keep in mind as this moves on through and transitions into an overnight event. And if we transition over to Illinois, you can see how we have some showers and thunderstorms already with this warm front here that I was talking about earlier. But then what's going to happen here is there's going to be a window of opportunity in the early afternoon hours, sometime around 2 to 3, to where there's going to be some showers and thunderstorms that start to form over near Quincy. And this is going to be something to watch out for, in my opinion, as there could potentially be some tornadic activity over towards Peoria and Springfield as this moves on through into the early afternoon, late afternoon, and even the early evening hours. And this will continue to be there for the majority of the day. You can see more and more showers and thunderstorms then begin to form within that general area. You also have these waves of storms that will be moving on through into Missouri, and it'll continue to push on through into southern portions of Illinois, heading on towards the Carbondale area south of Springfield. So definitely one of those things to where if you live in Illinois, I would highly recommend watching out for these showers and thunderstorms. The event typically won't be over until practically well into the early morning hours and into the morning hours of tomorrow. So just be on the lookout for the majority of today into tomorrow for some severe weather. If you live in any of these areas that I basically called out for, in Missouri, in Illinois, in Arkansas, I highly recommend staying up to date with the weather. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to live stream today because it'll be a little bit tight with my schedule. But if I do live stream today, feel free to tune in and turn on channel notifications. If I do not live stream, I highly recommend staying up to date with the National Weather Service, turning on your weather radio if you have one, or even watching another news network that could potentially talk about weather, as there could be some strong showers and thunderstorms that could move on through here today. And finally, we're going to talk about tomorrow, as there could potentially be some severe weather on Monday. Of course, as I said, the main priority was to talk about today's risk, but because I may not make a video early enough tomorrow morning to get the information out, I may just have to talk about it right now, which is what I'm doing to prepare ahead of time. But you can see here, this is around 8 o'clock in the morning, and we've got the leftovers of those showers and thunderstorms from the previous severe risk over in Missouri and Illinois that's going to be pushing on through into central portions of Tennessee and Kentucky. And this will continue to stay around in this general area heading off into the mid-Atlantic, but then that line will begin to kind of dissipate, and there will be a new batch of showers and thunderstorms that'll move on through into central portions of Ohio and eastern portions of Kentucky, and there will be some more and more showers and thunderstorms that will begin to pop around into portions of Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, as well as potentially even Virginia ahead of the fact. Now, of course, you'll still have this giant line here, but it won't be as organized as it was moving through earlier on in the day. You still will get some strong damaging winds and even the threat for tornadoes, but damaging winds will most likely be the main threat, and that'll head on through into portions of Maryland, as well as Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, as well as to portions of the Northeast here in portions of New England. So definitely something to watch out for as this continues to move about. But as I said, the main risk is most likely going to be the damaging wind risk. You could potentially see tornadoes and you could potentially see hail, but the wind is going to be the main priority here. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, turn on notifications, share this with friends and family and on social media. Also follow me on social media. Link will be in the description down below. I will potentially see you guys later on tonight with a live stream, as typically whenever there's a 5% chance for tornadoes or above, I typically live stream. There's some instances where I don't, but because this is a 10% chance for tornadoes as well as a significant risk for tornadoes, if I can make it back in time from what I'm doing in real life, then I will stream. But turn on channel notifications to stay up to date with that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys whenever I post more content. So peace out, everyone.